What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moose Milk Podcast, episode 65. I'm your host, Ryan. Gonna wait for Mr. at Customs by Matt to join us. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great week. Friday night, Saturday night, whatever you want to call it. Good times. Lots to talk about tonight. Covering Moon Knight episode 1, talking Morbius. One was good, one was bad. We'll let you decide. Matt has joined. Waiting for his request. Sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't. We never know. It's all a game. Look at that. It popped up. Here's Mr. Matthew. Look at this guy. Oh, look at you.
What's up?
Not much, you.
Pretty good, man.
I can tell.
Yeah. Different.
Not even bothering going outside anymore, eh?
I'm in the shed at my in-laws' house.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I can tell now from the background. I wasn't even paying attention.
This is where I usually work when I come out here.
Nice.
So this is like the smoke shack, but I also work out here too. So it's cool because I can puff while I work.
Hell yeah.
It's good, man.
That's the best part about owning my own house. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, that is great. I wouldn't want to smoke inside, but like out here, I don't really care because it's outside.
I mean, it's
inside, but it's outside.
Open a window, it's good to go. Whatever.
Good to go.
I'm never moving again anyway, so.
That's funny. What's up, man?
How are you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's been a busy week. Just fucking grinding, man. Work's kicking my ass. Went back to the office this week full time, so that was pretty shit.
Yeah, that's the worst. I don't know why we're still doing office work. Why did we bring that back?
It's weird because like in my whole office, there's like 100 people probably. Yeah. And the 6 of us that report to my boss were all told to withdraw our work from home requests because of the optics.
Corporations.
We're the only 6 that aren't.
Yeah, I mean, my work. It's a whole other ball of wax. So I understand where you're coming from because my store does the same dumb shit.
It's really annoying. But
yeah,
that's not what we're talking about tonight. We got
so much to talk about.
We got so much goodness to talk about. We got so much dog shit to talk about.
I don't know where you want to start on either. Maybe we should start with what you've been watching this week. If you watched anything.
I just finished watching. I didn't really finish all of it. Watching The Bubble.
Oh, I didn't see it. Isn't it good?
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty. It's pretty Netflix. It's pretty Netflix movie. Hey, Kate's here. Hi, hon. Yeah, it's bad. Nikki fell asleep pretty much right away. So
yeah, I heard it wasn't very good. I heard it's like an interesting look at making a film during COVID, but like it just doesn't really work.
I feel like the problem with that though is it really only works for people who make films during COVID. So it's like films during COVID. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of it was kind of lost on me. It's not like it was horrible. I laughed at some parts, but I mean that's what happens when you put like funny people together, right? Like
totally.
So it's just like yeah. So we watched that tonight, and then we watched Moon Knight. My father-in-law and I watched Moon Knight, and he really liked it. I enjoyed it again. And what else did I watch this week? Oh, I obviously saw Morbius, because we're talking about it. And did I watch anything else this week? I watched a lot of like late night stuff again. Everybody's back from spring break, so Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert. I watched that.
I had no idea there was a thing called spring break for late night hosts.
Well, just when everyone like goes on vacation and shit, they don't go live. It's like I feel like ratings probably dip, so they're probably like, okay, we won't bother this week. So yeah, it's like that over Christmas break too. There's like a 3 weeks where like they don't do anything, which makes sense.
Christmas makes sense, but
when the Olympics were on, they also took those 2 weeks off too. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then what else? I've been slowly getting through Always Sunny. I'm almost through season 14.
You're almost caught up, buddy.
There's some pretty weird ones though. Like they start. I mean, I guess they always kind of have been kind of like I always kind of use the Community reference where it's like season 2 and 3 are pretty like a story, but then like you get to season 3 and it's like there's like a Law and Order themed one, and like there's like these themed ones, and it's like. Well,
the longer a show goes on, right? Like the harder it is to come up with original ideas, and it's like Sunny. I mean, just listening to the Sunny podcast, right? Like the one episode they're talking about, like, oh, we could do like a live idea like bubble thing where we come up with an idea for an episode in the future, and they started talking about stuff, and then they're just like, oh yeah, we already did that. Oh yeah, we already did that. Oh yeah, we already did. Like, it becomes harder and harder to become original 15 seasons in. So
totally. Yeah.
But
so I've been watching that. I've probably caught about 4 or 5 episodes this week. So yeah, I'm pretty nice. I'm getting close to the end. The one I just finished on was The Janitor Always Mops Twice. That's like the film noir like detective one where Charlie's a detective. That's pretty funny.
It's so random, but it's so good.
Yeah. It is random. So, and what else is there? What else? I think that's pretty much mostly what I've been watching. And obviously my usual. I was on the Toy Migos on Tuesday, Chat Migos Assemble show.
Nice.
So I meant to actually send you a clip. I kind of pimped us at the end. And
oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. It was fun. It was a good time. I had a good time on the show, and it was actually really cool. The next night on Whip Wednesday Live, I had a guy come on who is from Vancouver, and he saw me on the Toy Migos, and when he kind of put it together that I was from Vancouver as well, because I was talking Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he must be from at least close to here. So yeah, he kind of came on and was like, oh yeah, I'm from Vancouver. And he's like, I'm not really in any of the toy groups, but I just thought it was cool that you were from the same area, and thought I'd come on and show some love. So I was like, dude, that's fucking crazy. How's that happen?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's the kind of people you want in your community, man. That are just like cool, down to earth people.
It was cool because then he was like, I'm going to Target I'm going to the States in a couple of weeks. So let me know if you want to look out for anything for you. Like, cool, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, works good. So
I'm actually excited that like things are kind of returning back to normal, and like we'll be able to cross the border a little bit easier and like all that kind of stuff, you know?
I know. It is nice. So Kate booked, she wants to go see Neil Gaiman, the writer, the author.
Okay.
So we're going to see him I think it's like a book signing or something in Seattle, and I think it's like the beginning of May. I think it is first week of May. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then you're coming home still, right? In a couple weeks?
I'm coming home in a couple weeks. Yeah, coming home. April 9th, I'm in Toronto for a week, and then I'll be home to you guys. I think Craig, I'm going to stay with Craig for a few days, so he's going to drive me home on the Saturday, the Saturday of Easter weekend, I think.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, 15th or 16th or something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, man.
I'm excited, buddy.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited to come home. So, it'll be nice.
So I watched the first 7 Saw movies this week.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know, my buddy. Oh, dog. Seriously. My dog is the worst. I watched all 7 Saw movies. My buddy Brett started watching them, and I couldn't remember half of the movies like at all. So he started talking about them, and I was like, dude, I don't remember like Saw 4 through 7 like in any real way. But then I've seen it once. They all blend together, and so I started rewatching those, and yeah, man, Saw movies hold up. Like, Oh yeah, the first
I
two
know.
are the best for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Those are the only two I like, to be honest.
I didn't like 3 at all. Rewatching 3, I really liked 5. I think 5's probably the best sequel after 2. 4 was okay. 6 was okay. 7 was brutal. 7 I don't like it really at all. There's actually 9 of them because they did Jigsaw and Spiral after that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna rewatch those 2 next. But I don't know. They're fun movies. There's rumors going around they're making Saw 10 right now. So I don't know. I mean,
great.
I love horror films, and some of them are so brutal that like I'm way more squeamish now than I was when I was like whatever 25, 26. Like there's certain traps in those movies now that I can't even look at the screen. Like they're just way too brutal.
They're brutal. Yeah, I know. There's some real brutal shit in that stuff.
Yeah,
but I still do think that the first Saw movie is like so
it's great.
Insane. Like even I remember at the very end when he gets up off the floor, like I had to fucking pick my jaw up off the ground, man, because I was like, what the fuck?
They always try to put a twist in the movies, and they like some of them work and some of them don't. But those first 2 movies, the twists, like I did not see at all coming. So like it was like, oh shit, like this is mind blowing. But like I always love a good twist in a movie, but it's hard to make them good. Like I think there's bad twists, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
well, the problem is you start putting a twist in just because Saw movies have a twist, and then
totally.
It's like, right,
well, it's what M. Night did, right? With like a lot of his movies, with like
everything
there has to be a twist, and it's just like, oh, does there? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out who on the A&R team is manning the handle tonight. I feel like this is Chris talking because I feel like that sounds like something Chris would say because Chris rocks the character as a whiny little bitch.
I missed it. It's not coming up for me, but oh, there it goes. It's catching up. I must be behind.
Yep, see, it's Chris. I'm right. See, got it. What up, Chris? I haven't seen them in forever, man. Honestly, I haven't seen...
I haven't seen 6 or 7 since theaters.
I'm sure that Saw 1 would blow my mind away again if I watched it, like, tomorrow.
Yeah, it's some of the acting isn't great, but they work. I mean, some of them are better than others, like I said. Like, there's a few duds, but anytime you're making 9 movies in a series, you're going to have some duds.
Yeah, I agree, especially in that case. So
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So sorry that you got inspired to do that from your friends because your friends were watching it and talking about it?
Yeah, my friend Brett hadn't seen anything after 3, I think, and for some reason he started watching them all. And then he was talking about some of the sequels, and I was like, I don't remember that at all. Like, it's gone. So I started rewatching them just so I could actually have a conversation with them and actually remember the movies. They're all like 90 minutes long, so they're not huge commitments.
You can get through them pretty quick.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love me some horror films, so I'll finish the next 2 and go from there. But other than that, nothing really crazy.
Cool. It's always
Morbius and Moon Knight.
Morbius and Moon Knight. I'm gonna try to get my father-in-law this weekend to watch Daredevil because I feel like he would like it. Oh,
the show's great. So good call. You want to start with Moon Knight, or do you want to start with the shit show?
I don't know. I was trying to think about what we should start with. What do you think?
Pick your poison, buddy.
Okay, why don't we start off with Morbius? Only because I don't really want to end on a negative note. Okay,
that's fair.
Chris says Moon Knight.
Well, we can do what Chris says. I mean, I think it'll be a quicker conversation on Moon Knight. I really like it. I mean, it's not the best Marvel thing. I don't think it's like top tier Marvel. I think it's original. It has its own kind of tone, its own kind of unique, story that doesn't really feel like an MCU film. It doesn't really feel like a play-by-play.
There's no ties, right? There's no ties. They haven't mentioned the blip or
anything.
Yeah, anything, right? So
it almost seems like he's like blissfully unaware of like anything going on. So in a way, that's interesting and cool. I thought it was well done. Like I said, it didn't blow me out of the water. I don't think it's like, oh wow, you gotta watch Moon Knight, but I think it was very enjoyable. Like I'm excited to see where it heads.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm pretty much of the same as you. It's not like I left it saying like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah,
Like it was good. It was cool, and like I really liked Oscar Isaac. I really liked his English accent. I thought it was pretty believable. And
totally.
I just liked his character. I liked his character. I liked how he was kind of like fumbly and kind of like
dim-witted.
I don't know. Yeah, and kind of awkward. He's a little bit awkward too, right? And it's just yeah, it's really cool. And I also kind of liked how like confused he seemed, like he always was. Like he was really selling the whole like I'm out of it, and then like all of a sudden like 2 days later he wakes up thinking it's 2 days before, and it's like it's really cool.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool little subtleties that like I picked up on the second viewing tonight when I was like, oh, I must have missed that in the first round.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of like you really disconnecting once he leaves his like own character in his head, that like you really don't see what's happening in between. Now I'm really kind of hoping that the second episode isn't just the same as the first episode from Mark's perspective.
Yeah.
I hope it's something different. Like I would like kind of pieces left out and spread out between the next 5 episodes. Like I think that would make it more interesting. If the second episode is just the same as the first episode from the opposite perspective, like I think that's going to be kind of a bummer. But
yeah, the thing is I think, I mean, again, like I'm not super familiar with Moon Knight. Like I know enough about him to know, you know, kind of the main gist of him, but I'm pretty sure he has like a lot of personalities. So I feel like there's a really good chance that it's not going to just be Mark and Steve. It's Steven. It's going to be, you know, I'm pretty sure like they confirmed that like Mr. Knight's in it, which is like when he dresses in like a white suit, and like it's like,
and then there's a cab driver too, I think.
Oh, maybe I don't know. So
I think there's 4. I think there's 4 person. I might be wrong, but
that'd be cool. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of really cool. Like I really like how they're leaning into the whole like Egyptian kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know how much of that is like legit, but yeah, like I thought it was really cool. And again, I liked how Steven was like, oh, you know, there's actually 9 gods, and you guys only have 7 on the poster.
Astonishing. Because what was your thoughts on Ethan Hawke? And I thought Ethan Hawke was good. I thought he was really creepy. He definitely looks older than the last time I seen Ethan Hawke. Like he looks, I don't know, more mature, I guess. And like I like the way he was like carrying his like villainous role. I assume he's a villain. I don't really know like his character in any real way outside of the first episode of this. But
I would imagine he's the villain just by having him chase Oscar Isaac's character with guns.
The thing is like Oscar Isaac is kind of like he's not reliable in his like narration, right? Like you don't really know what is true and what's actually happening, and like what's real and what's not real, because it's so like, I don't know.
That's the best thing about this, though. That's what makes it so cool. It kind of
right, and that's what I'm saying is like
of Inception, where it's like
totally.
You're constantly questioning, like, is this actually real, or is this just like happening? And
yeah, it really reminded me of Fight Club.
Yeah, I totally see Fight Club in this too.
Yeah, like you never really know what's happening, and Tyler Durden's kind of like there, but he's not there, and you're always like questioning what the real motive is and everything like that. And like I really feel like that's kind of what's happening with this. But yeah, the Egyptian stuff is awesome. Like I love.
Yeah.
I was always obsessed with Egypt as a kid, so like any Egypt thing, I was always like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" I don't know, something about the pyramids I find like really interesting and creepy, and like sarcophagus and like all that kind of stuff. So seeing that Egyptian theme kind of brought into the MCU, which we've never really gotten, it also makes me assume they could really tie in like X-Men shit into this with fucking
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I like that it felt standalone as well too. Like I thought that was cool, but then again, we don't really know how much of this is even real, like or how much.
Yeah,
this could all just be in someone's mind. I like that bit about the goldfish. Did you catch that part with the goldfish and the Go ahead.
He's unreliable as a narrator, right? And then, that's what makes it interesting is you don't know what is real and what is true. And I think they should keep that going on where you go I'm not really sure if he's good, if he's bad, if he's I don't know. And I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. I hope we get a little more Moon Knight-ish stuff in the next episode.
I think we
seeing
will.
him in the costume and everything.
I feel like this one was just setting up kind of what's been happening with him. It's kind of setting up that he's sharing this body with other entities, and at the very end we get a feel for what Moon Knight actually is, right? So
yeah,
I think from this point I feel like this was just kind of the setup, and now moving forward we should talk about Obi-Wan after this before we forget.
Yeah, we can.
Quickly. We can. But.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Sasha saying the Four Horsemen stuff, and I'm that's exactly where I was thinking is they could totally have bringing this in Four Horsemen stuff into the MCU and then setting up X-Men from there. But
yeah, that'd be an interesting way to do it too, because you'd be kind of going backwards, right? Just kind of starting with the villain and.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be really interesting, but
that would be cool.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Moon Knight to really have any theories on where it's heading. So it's actually the first time in a long time where I don't know literally anything about the character. And I'm just interested to see where this heads. And I think it was an interview with Oscar Isaac, but I could be wrong. Where he's this is the first MCU property since Iron Man where there's no real ties to anything. There's actual character development. It doesn't have to lead into anything or whatever. And, it's interesting. It's an exciting way to do something in the MCU. That makes it feel different, and I like that.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious to see how the whole thing with Ethan Hawke plays out, because apparently that character in the comics is a minor Moon Knight villain from the 70s or something like that. And apparently he was a scientist who was obsessed with Nazis and how they experimented on Jewish people and stuff like that, and just pretty fucked up. So I'm sure that they're gonna change that. Obviously, I feel
I would assume so.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that.
But again, the World War II Nazi stuff that could totally lead into Magneto, or
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
I think the timeline doesn't really work anymore. Obviously, we talked kind of about that before. World War II is almost 100 years previous now. So it's 90 years or whatever. So it's I don't know how you can really do that in this timeline and make it work, unless your Magneto is going to be, 120. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, you can't really have that. But the thing is see, to me, Magneto being a World War survivor, it doesn't do anything for the character for me, really. I guess it does give him some motives and stuff, but
sure.
I feel that could all be updated and it would be fine.
It leads into the persecution of how he feels about the mutants, right?
Yes.
He had been that with his, with his family, with other Jewish people, and now he feels the same persecution against the mutants, and that's why he rises up, and that's always part of the character. But you're right, you don't need that to really make Magneto.
Right. Hey, Drastic Jesse's in the house. What up?
Yeah, we can talk about Obi-Wan too if you want.
Yeah, sure. I don't really know much more to say about Moon Knight for the same reason as you, as I don't really know the character that well, and
sure.
But I did really like it, and I like the comedy of Steven. I like the comedy of that character and how awkward he is, and just how much of a nerd he is, and
trying to get a date with that girl, and he's really flustered by the idea of having a date with his woman, and I don't know. With these Disney Plus series, do you guys think they should expand episodes? In length, yes, and not in episode count.
In quantity, same here.
6 episodes
at an hour apiece.
Yeah, 6 episodes. I feel is a good amount. I think they're going to have a hard time with Moon Knight being only 6 episodes. To introduce the character, have an actual story arc, and have it end by episode 6. I think it's going to be tough. But I wish the episodes were all longer. Like, I wish every episode was an hour long.
Yep, same here. I wish an hour was kind of the standard. That would be ideal.
Yeah, same. I think, like, they're all about 35, 40 minutes, and it just feels too short.
I don't think there's ever been anything on Disney Plus that we've watched so far that I have not felt like could have benefited from another 15 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
I honestly think every single thing we watched, maybe with the exception of WandaVision, could have benefited from another 15 minutes. Particularly Book of Boba Fett and Loki.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing I feel about movies, right? It's like now the standard for movies is like 2.5 to 3 hours long, right? And a lot of movies don't need that length of time. I agree. I think it depends on the product. Like, you can make a cohesive story in 90 minutes, or you can make a cohesive story in 2 hours. Some movies need 3 hours long. Like Dune, I think, was 3 hours, and Dune is fine. Like, it's a great movie. It didn't feel 3 hours long. Obviously, Endgame and stuff like that are all 3 hours long. And like, at no point during Endgame was I was like, oh fuck, this is too long. Let's cut an hour out of this. Like, it flew by. But then there's movies like fucking Justice League. That's, you know, the Snyder Cut's 4 hours long, and I was like, put a bullet in my head. This is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And like Morbius, that we'll get into. It felt like it was about 45 minutes too long, and I think it was just over 90 minutes, or maybe a little longer. I don't know. It felt way too long.
At the hour mark, I actually got on my phone and looked up how long the movie was.
I looked at my watch like 3 times. I'm like, when the fuck is this over? Anyway, see, I think it was last week or the week before, we talked about how it's weird that Obi-Wan was coming out the week before Ms. Marvel. And now with that delay, they clearly realize they don't want to put them out on the same day, you know?
Which is smart.
Yeah, it's smart. And like, why would you put out your 2 big series both on Wednesday every week? Like, that just doesn't make sense.
I agree. I had to get my bubbly, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, I agree. So what, they pushed it back. Oh, you got the peach. Good call.
2 days.
2 weeks. Two
No,
days?
2 days.
Yeah, okay.
Obi-Wan's just going to be on Fridays now. It's the first 2 episodes will be out the first day, and then Miss Marvel, I think, staying on Wednesdays is just going to be the following week.
Oh, so Obi-Wan's going to always come out Fridays now? Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, whatever, but.
Oh, I like it. I wish everything came out Fridays because that's my day off and I can just come home and watch it. But
right, it doesn't matter.
I just think it's better to spread them out. Like, why would you want Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel to eat each other on the same day? I think Miss Marvel's already going to struggle to get an audience.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Here's a little potential spoiler for Obi-Wan. Did you happen to see that leaked set footage of Vader and Obi-Wan?
No, I didn't see anything.
I mean, if it's real, I can't really say if it's real. It's hard to say. They can make anything look real, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be cool.
I hope it's great, but Jurassic Jesse in the chat saying, but now we get episode 1 and 2 back to back. Yeah, we get them the same day, which makes me think that episode 1 is probably pretty slow and is introducing a lot of story.
Yeah.
And episode 2's probably got a lot of action in it, and so they wanted to put them both out on the same day.
That makes sense. Hey, I'm fucking there for it, man. I'm there for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I hope it's better than Boba Fett. But
yeah, you know what sucks though is I actually don't think I can do the pod. Oh no, I'll be able to do that one. The week after, I won't be able to do though.
Yeah, I know you got what 2 or 3 weeks in June. You're out.
I'm out. Yeah, in June, beginning of June, I'm out for like 2 weeks. Sucks.
Yeah, I'm on vacation late June, and so I don't know. I'll have to figure something out for June, but
yeah, we're gonna try to figure out what we're gonna do for our show when I'm there. Like, I want to be there together, But I still want to use 2 phones because it pulls people in from my account too, right? So
Yeah, totally.
we'll have to set up double phone views.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. Well, I don't know. I don't got any ideas yet.
Close to fit into that square, Ryan. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe pop our shirts off and see what happens. All right, Morbius.
Oh man, Morbius. What a fucking train wreck. Spoilers for anybody who gives a shit, which you shouldn't.
Here's our thoughts without spoilers. The movie sucks. End of spoilers.
Man, it's really bad, eh?
It's the worst.
Every single thing was a stretch, and I'm just like, give me a fucking break.
It's the worst comic book movie I've seen probably since like the early 2000s when we got like Daredevil and Catwoman and like shit like that. Elektra, like those really shitty fucking Marvel movies. This is on par with that. Like I liked both Venom movies way more than I like this.
Me too. I don't even like the Venom movies, but I like both.
No, neither do I. I think they're mediocre at best, but this was a train wreck. This
feels like exactly like 2004, like early 2000 superhero movies. It feels, I said that about Venom, but this feels way worse than that. Like every line seems so forced. And I will say the only thing that I wanted to hate more was I actually thought Jared Leto was like okay. Like he wasn't the reason I disliked it. Everything else was.
Yeah, I mean,
I still want to punch him in his face because I don't like how he looks.
I fucking hate him, but
I don't like the look of that fucking guy.
I honestly, like the first 10 minutes maybe of the movie, I was like, oh, this is okay. Like so far, there's nothing about this movie that's making me go like, oh, this is gonna be bad. Like the first 10 minutes of him, like
the first part didn't make you.
No, like him having like the illness or whatever, and like him talking to the kid. I'm like, okay, this is cheesy as shit. Why is he changing his name to like whatever the fuck it is? None of that makes any sense. None of it's like good writing or logical in any way, but like I was like, all right, this could be somewhat okay. Like, okay, he's looking for a cure for his disease. All right, it's dumb, but sure. And, you know, carrying on with everything. And then when he becomes Morbius, like the vampire Morbius, I was just like, oh God, this CG is awful. Like there was nothing about the movie that I was like, oh, that's good. There's not a single joke in the movie that lands in any way. There's no laugh moments. The theater was dead silent the entire time I was sitting there. The dialogue's poorly written. Jared Leto was the best actor in the movie, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's bad all around.
So my biggest complaints about it were, well, I mean, the script was really bad, and like I feel just like what's the best way to put this? So it's like even when he was like gonna do the surgery or whatever on himself or get the girl to do it or whatever, he's like, it's a little dicey and you have to be on international waters and this, and then it just cuts to a next scene and it's like a boat in the middle of the ocean and it just says international waters. I'm like,
I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud when that popped up. I couldn't help myself. I was like, "Oh, good, international waters. So we're here.
We're safe. At least we're good. We're it's not against the law anymore, so we're good."
Like,
go ahead.
Like, even though
let me before we step away from what you just talked about that whole opening scene with Michael and what's his friend's name? Milo, right? Milo.
I couldn't think of it either.
Milo are kind of top. I actually stopped in the middle to write a note about Milo that I need to talk about. So, but like that whole scene at the beginning, it's like a 70-year-old wrote a script about how he would talk to his other 70-year-old friend, and then they're like, "All right, kids, here, just do this one," because it's like it's just so not like how kids would talk. Like it's just
no, not at all.
It was so bad. Like, I know the idea is they're trying to sell Michael as like the super smart kid. I had to like step back at the beginning because I was criticizing the fuck out of it, and I'm like, I'm doing exactly what a lot of other people do, where they're like, well, how could someone fly around in a suit? You're like, you have to expect that this is a world where like these people have special gifts, right? So I had to like stop myself from hating on that.
Well,
but
I mean, the worst part of the beginning for me was like the kid introduced himself. He's like, "Hi, my name's Lucian," and he's like, "Okay, Milo," and I'm like,
yeah.
"What?" And then he's like, "Yeah, the kid before you was named Milo, and the kid before that was named Milo, and the kid before that was named Milo, and I don't even remember that Milo." And I'm like, "Okay,
Lucian, that's right. That's actually his real name." But
yeah." And then the rest of the movie, he just goes by Milo, and I'm like, at some point, wouldn't you say, "No, that's not my fucking name, guy"?
Listen, weird kid. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but at first I just was like, all right, I'm going to give this movie the benefit of the doubt and try to keep an open mind. And like the first 10 minutes is the best 10 minutes of the movie.
I disagree.
Oh,
I think
the movie's unwatchable.
The rest of the movie is horrible. I agree. But, like another one of the complaints I had was, when him and Milo, so for anybody who doesn't know and they're letting us spoil this for you, basically Michael comes up with this cure to basically cure his, what does he have? Cerebral palsy? Or is that what it is? I can't remember what it is.
Some kind of blood. It's a blood issue.
He has some kind of issue that basically kind of cripples him. It makes him, his limbs
It's a
hurt,
blood
and like he
disease.
can't walk, and like he has to walk with the walking sticks. And
I don't think they ever actually say what his disease is. He just says, I have a blood disorder.
Astonishing sounds like it was as good as Elektra.
I mean, I don't remember Elektra, but at least in Elektra, you can look at Jennifer Garner the entire movie. That's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one either. So
no, it's a bad movie.
Yeah, really bad.
It's the worst.
Oh, sorry. Milo. So we fast forward to the future, and like Michael's kind of like figuring out how to like solve this problem. And him and Milo have kind of kept in touch since they were kids, and Milo like wants the cure. So he's like, I don't know if he's like, if they're insinuating that he's funding him. Were they kind of insinuating that? I kind of got that
he's
vibe.
Somehow rich.
He's somehow rich. I like how he was like,
they don't explain why.
I like when he has the cure and he's like, let's go for a walk. And it's like, and I'm not, again, I hope this is not like shaky ground to say, but it just seems like such an unrealistic thing to do. So it's these two guys who have like the walking sticks, and they're walking super slow, and they walk in the busiest place you could possibly walk. Totally. It's like they're walking in Times Square, and it's like there's a fucking 1,000 people around them. It's like, couldn't you pick like a park or like a neighborhood street where like...
And at the beginning of the movie, he like specifically says like, hey, I don't like being outdoors because we get like noticed and picked on and like all this stuff. And so you would think that like the one place he wouldn't want to be is in a busy public place because he feels like, I don't know, driven out of society by his disorder. And I'm like, he's walking with like 2 sticks down the street, and I'm like,
surrounded by people.
You could trip. You could get trampled on. You could trip somebody else. Like, why would you pick the busiest street in the world to walk with your friend and try to have a conversation?
It just seemed super busy for what was happening. Like
totally.
And all I could think of is like, just pick a side road. Like you just like that's a lot of people to be like.
How often have you wanted to have a heart to heart with one of your best friends, and you say, "Hey, let's go to the busiest place in public to have this heart to heart"? Like,
let's go to Times Square.
Why would you go to like a coffee shop or like a park or like some kind of like private place? Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Or just stay there.
Yeah.
Like you're talking.
Hey, you know what's hard for people that have a blood disorder? Walking. Maybe don't walk.
He's talking about like having like a cure that's like basically like illegal and like not ethical. And he wants to go and talk about it in public when he's sitting in a house that's completely private.
International waters, but okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And the other part I wanted to bring up that was just mind blowing to me is how bad the cops are.
The what? Like, sorry?
The cops, the FBI cops, I know it was played by Tyrese because I know him from Fast and the Furious too.
Right. The cops. See, they were so bad I almost forgot about them already. But yes, they were brutal.
the other guy was named like, I don't know. It was like a Mexican looking man that
He had like a mustache.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, the comedic relief, I guess, for the movie, but nothing he said landed. And then the other cop, who's played by Tyrese, basically just anything he said, he was like the anti-cop, where he's just like, man, I don't really care. And I'm just like, you're a cop. Like, it was a very bizarre part of the movie that I'm like, I don't even know why these guys are really here. They don't really seem to care about solving these murders.
And they do really nothing to move.
They do nothing in the movie. The other joke that I can remember that was, I think, the joke of the movie that didn't make one person in the theater laugh is when Morbius is going into that secret lab that is counterfeiting money, but for some reason they have all this science stuff in there. I don't know much about counterfeiting money, but I don't think you need all the science machines.
Maybe.
Anyway, he goes in there and starts breaking the guy's hand, like muscle by muscle, and then he's like, you're going to want to go home and rest for 7 days and take some ibuprofen. And I'm like,
sorry.
Is that a joke? Was that supposed to be funny? I'm not sure.
The thing I thought was ridiculous was, it's like it goes back to Horizon. That Horizon Labs is where Michael Morbius works. And it's like at night, it's dark, and there's like a nurse walking down the hallway, and she keeps hearing something behind her. So it's like as she walks, like one light will just come on where she's walking, and then when she walks out of it, it turns off, and the next one turns on. And I'm like, that seems so stupid. And then at the end, when she starts running because something's chasing her, she runs and hits this light, and then the hall lights just all turn on. And I'm like, you're in a hospital. Why wouldn't you always have the lights on?
It doesn't make any sense at all. It was like something out of a horror film that they were trying to make creepy, and like, so the lights would flicker on and off. And I'm like, it's creepy.
I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, this is a hospital. Why would that be a lighting option? Like, it's like, here's regular lighting, and then here's cheesy horror movie lighting. Yeah. And it's like,
the electrician installed that in a hospital. Totally.
It's past 11. The lights can flicker. It's not weird. It's not weird.
It's not weird at all. It's not creepy for the people that are dying in the hospital either. You know what I like? It's like when I'm feeling really sick and maybe dying, I like looking out my hospital window and seeing the lights flicker on and off, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on morphine and shit, but that's not creepy.
Light.
Yeah.
Like a faint hallway light flickering. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm on my deathbed. Don't worry.
Yeah, Astonishing says in the chat too, I love hospital scenes when it's empty. When has a hospital ever been empty? 100%. What hospital do you know that has entire floors completely empty?
Oh man, it was so bad. It was so bad. Yeah, there's just a lot of bad. But the thing I was gonna say was, eventually Milo just takes the powers for himself. He is not a scientist, or that we know of, but he somehow manages to figure out how to inject himself into a specific spot in the spine. Because remember, Morbius didn't even inject himself; he had the other doctor do it.
Yeah, it was in the fucking spinal fluid or something, and he had to like.
But Milo did that himself, so that's good for him. And that part where we find out that he has taken the serum, and he goes home and he like starts dressing up and he's like dancing and stuff. I'm like, this is.
I laughed out loud again.
Me too. That's the note I made. A note. All I wrote was Morbius, Milo's stupid dance scene, Spider-Man 3 ?
That's exactly what it made me think of, was Venom in Spider-Man 3. Or, not Venom, Topher when he's... Was it Topher?
No, it's Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it was. When he's got the symbiote suit. Yeah.
That's so good.
It's... I don't know how this movie got made. I don't understand how somebody saw this script.
What they were trying to do.
Well, they're trying to make Sony Universe, obviously. But the fact that this cost $75 million and it got delayed for 2 years. Will you stop working?
I think it's doing pretty good. Didn't this weekend it do like 40 million? It did over what it was supposed to do.
It's opening night, so I don't know what it actually
projected
did, but
to do 40 million. I think on a third. I think they said they were expecting to do 35.
But like my theater was pretty packed, but I don't think anybody left my theater going that was a good movie. Like. It'd be very hard pressed. my friend that I went with literally turned to me after the movie and was like, I wouldn't see that again for $1.6 million. And I was like, really? And he's like, well, I probably would for 2 hours of my time, but like that movie was dreadful. And I'm like, yeah, it was really bad. I obviously Sony's trying to make their universe, and like they want a universe so bad of their own, and they think they can do it, and they're just doing whatever they can to not lose the Spider-Man rights back to Disney. So they're just going to keep using Spider-Man characters that are side characters and keep making movies and hopefully build out like their Sinister Six, which we'll get into in a minute with the end credit scene. But it just doesn't work. None of the movies are well thought out. None of the movies are scripted well. Like even Venom, at least Venom had some comedic elements to it. Like there's Tom Hardy, who is charismatic and likable. Like Jared Leto's not likable in a normal everyday setting of life, let alone in any movie he's ever been in. Like he's not even a great actor. Like I don't understand how somebody was like, shoot that fucking film. That's gold. We're gonna make fucking money off that. Like it's bad all around. It's really, really bad.
So to me, there's multiple problems here. First of all, the first problem is that they made a Morbius movie.
Yeah, like, it doesn't need to exist.
That on its own is like, we don't need that. Like no one needs that. No one's asking for that. Nobody wants to see that. Like
no Spider-Man fan is like, my favorite villain from Spider-Man is Morbius.
The thing is even if it is, man, like I have favorite villains. I love Shocker. I love Rhino. I love Scorpion. Shocker. I don't need. I
would rather a Shocker movie.
I don't need to see that. To me,
no, nobody does.
The appeal of a Spider-Man villain is that it's Spider-Man's villain. Like if I'm seeing a Spider-Man villain, I want to see Spider-Man, and if I can't see Spider-Man, it's so fucking irrelevant. Venom. I would say Venom is the odd exception to the rule, but like even in this situation, like the biggest issue I have with Sony is they push way too hard. It's like they put all their cards on the table right at the beginning, and it's like, this is what we ultimately want to do. It's like, cool, how about you tell us that in a story that makes sense and is logical. It doesn't have to be logical, it's a comic book movie, but that makes sense and that like works within the narrative of the universe you're creating. Like one of the things we didn't touch on was like, in the movie, they pretty much confirmed that Venom is in this universe, because that part where when he says, I'm Venom, or we're Venom, or whatever, right?
And one of the cops says like, this is like just like the thing that happened in LA or something like that. And he's like, not really. So I assume they're talking about Venom, but
Venom.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the same universe as Venom, clearly. We'll get to the other character in a minute that they bring into this, but
yes,
this is like, I still don't think it works as a movie, but at least if this was in like Venom, like as a side character, or like you brought in somebody else to help carry this movie, maybe it could have been somewhat interesting. Like maybe if this was somehow tied into Blade or something like that, then maybe we could have got something interesting out of that. It feels like when Marvel was like, oh, we can't do a standalone Hulk movie. Nobody really wants a standalone Hulk movie. So we're going to tie Hulk into Thor and make it work that way. It feels like, okay, maybe if Morbius was tied into something else, it could have worked somewhat as a movie. But like, there's nothing interesting about Morbius, and there's nothing relatable about the character. And there's barely any action in the movie, which makes you like, oh, that at least was a cool scene. Like it doesn't have any action really outside of maybe two scenes.
The problem with the action piece, like you said, is like it suffers the same thing that Venom, the first Venom in particular, suffers from. Is like when him and Milo are fighting and they're using the powers, it's just like fading spaghetti things that go across the screen, and they're like flying against each other, and it's like purple spaghetti, orange spaghetti, and it's just fucking going everywhere, and it's like,
well, even
what the fuck is this?
Even when he's like flying and stuff, like they have all the like artsy like lines coming off of everything he sees and everything, and it just muddles the picture so much that you can't even really tell what's happening. And it's like, who looked at that and was like, oh, that's a great idea, that looks awesome? Like it doesn't look good in any way. It looks like something you would have seen in a very early like 2000s Marvel movie. Like it just, the CG is bad. Like it's just bad. even his
I agree.
his like teeth and like the way his face looks when he transforms and everything, like it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like scary. It doesn't look like somebody put time into it.
I didn't really think it looked bad. See, where I thought they would have done better to showcase him is like when he moves, it would have been cool to not see like the fog always coming off of him and like him moving at a speed where you actually can't see anything happening. I'm like, if we could have seen him like just like go and attack and slash and whatever, like that would have been way better to me.
Yeah, like when he transforms in that one scene, he starts like kind of twitching his limbs.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of that movie Exorcism of Emily Rose that was like early 2000s movie when she starts like folding her body apart and like twitching and stuff down the hallway and shit, like, or like The Ring did that scene when she climbs out of the TV and how you kind of see her like body twitch out of the frame and stuff. Like, it's all like very early 2000s like horror like cliches at this point where I'm just like none of this works. Like it just doesn't work.
It was a fucking mess. Like it was hard to get through and
totally.
Yeah, like even that part, remember at the beginning where he like gets with the bats and he like cuts his hand or whatever? I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
But like, I feel like there's a way to make that scene work and make it creepy and like there's a version of this movie that I don't think is good, but I think it at least is like workable. I was like, all right, it wasn't great, but at least it was like somewhat entertaining. Like it just, they were so desperate for him to get into being a vampire and getting him into, I don't know, being Morbius for Morbius' sake and not really like setting up anything about the character. You don't really understand why he's doing the things he's doing. Yeah. You don't really have any relationship with his friend or with his like other doctor who I guess is kind of his girlfriend. Like there's no build up for anything. You don't like any of the characters and there's no comedy. So it just doesn't work in any way. It's not a good horror film. It's not a good comedy movie. It's not a good action movie. It's not, it has no good elements, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, man. Honestly, like it was hard to get through. It was the action. It's like it was like perceived action. So it's like it wasn't even, there was nothing exciting about the scenes. It was just, here's some fog flying through the air. I mean,
it was an hour and 44 minutes.
Hour and 44 minutes? It felt like 2.5 hours.
Totally. It's exactly what I was going to say. It felt like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and it was 2.5 hours of like,
garbage.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, I started nodding off a couple times during the movie, and then after the movie, my friend Brian looked at me, and he's like, I was thinking about taking a nap during one scene, because he's like, I started getting so drowsy from how boring the movie was, that I honestly thought sleeping would be better use of my time. Like...
Yeah. It just wasn't good. I hate to be that negative, but like in this case, this is everything I hate about... Honestly, man, like, this is exactly what I'm talking about with... Call it controversial, with almost all the studios doing comic book movies.
Yep.
It's like they put way too much thought into what their ultimate end goal is going to be, and the final film like suffers so badly because of it. Like it's like the focus is like trying to like grow out this universe into something bigger than it is, and because of it, we leave all the important information that's relevant to the story we're trying to tell in the fucking dust. And it's it's really annoying. And like, you know, I feel like Venom and Venom 2 are both very much like that too. And it's like they all suffer from the whole like corny, like an early 2000s superhero movie.
Totally.
Like, so yeah. So I know a lot of people hate the wokeness of the Disney MCU, but like honestly, like, man, they know how to tell a good story to me. Like, it's unfortunate that lots of old white people don't like that females and people of color are taking leads, but you know, welcome to fucking now. Like, welcome to 2022.
Well,
like,
I mean,
you know,
that part's never going to bother me. If you tell a good story, I don't care what color or what gender you make the character. I don't. If you give me a good script and you give me a good actor, any actor can make that work. Like. That will never bother me. If you want to cast Wolverine as a black man in the next movie, go for it. If he's a good actor and the script's awesome, then that's not going to ever bother me.
Same here.
But like, I want to talk about the end credit scene because it's pivotal to obviously what Sony's trying to do. And so we get the credits for like 12 seconds. They don't even know how to do an end credit scene or a mid credit scene, especially because it literally starts the credits and then literally like 3 seconds in the credits, they do a first mid credit scene. And we see Michael Keaton as Vulture.
We start by seeing the purple rift in the sky like we saw in No Way Home.
We see the No Way Home multiversal cracking of the sky, which makes literally no sense because Michael Keaton. No, it doesn't make sense because Michael Keaton's part of their universe. Why would he be coming into this universe? Everything from
he knows who Peter Parker is. So if it had something to do with the same reason that those other ones got pulled into that universe, maybe.
No, but all the characters that got pulled into No Way Home went back to their own timelines.
Yes,
Michael Keaton's character was always a part of our timeline. So why would he get shifted out of it?
I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying that to me, it's not that far out of the realm of possibility.
Doesn't make any sense at all. They've literally set up that everybody went back to their own timelines. Michael Keaton's part of our timeline. Why would he get shifted out of our timeline to this weird, stupid timeline? And how did they get Michael Keaton to reprise this role? That's what I really want to know. Who showed him the script?
I don't know if you probably didn't notice because I know you didn't like this at any point, like the trailers or anything, which I didn't either. But all of the scenes from Michael Keaton in the trailer that showed up, those original trailers, those didn't show up in the movies at all. Like this is just a reshot thing, apparently.
So maybe he had a bigger part.
Maybe. But the thing is like, one of the things I kind of heard floating around was like maybe once Disney saw the final take or Feige saw the final take, maybe he's like,
yeah. That would be my reaction too.
He's like, we need to distance ourselves from this as much as possible. Can you make that purple rift in the sky green, please?
But this is what I mean too, right? It's like the end credit scene of Venom 2 was Venom getting shoved into our universe, and then the end credit scene of No Way Home was like, no thank you, take it. Why would they take Michael Keaton's character and be like, no, you can have that too, we don't want it? Like, maybe they had no intention of ever using it again, which is fine, but it just seems like very weird to bring the Vulture into that universe, especially when he doesn't make any sense in that universe. He's still using his Stark Tech wings. How did that get into that universe?
It's different. It's the same, but it's different. He rebuilt it in that universe. So there's some weird stuff about we'll talk about the director in a minute here, but like, so here's my biggest issue with the after credits. It's like a 7-year-old wrote that script. It's like we see a Flash in a prison cell, and all of a sudden Adrian Toomes is in a prison cell, and it's like he just randomly shows up in a new prison cell, and instead of being like, what the fuck? What the hell just happened? He's like, I hope the food's better here. It's like, what the fuck? And then the second scene after that, the writing is, I could write it better, and I am a shit ass writer.
No, totally.
Can I do the second one? So the second
please do.
So then we go back to credits. So Adrian Toomes gets dropped in, and they basically say, oh, this man showed up in this prison cell that was empty, and now that we don't have anything on him, we're gonna let him go. That's the first one. Then we go back to credits, and they do kind of like the rest of like the animated credits where it says like Morbius at the end, and then we get the second after credit, and then after that we get like the long credit. Yeah, mid credit again. Yeah. So the second one is Morbius is driving a car in a desert to meet somebody, and then he pulls up, and Vulture in his suit drops down. Helmet doesn't come off, but the mask is a little bit different. The suit's a little bit different. Similar, like you could tell what it is, but like if you look closely at the details, there is differences. But so Vulture comes down, helmet stays on, so this is not Michael Keaton now. And it didn't even sound like Michael Keaton to me. The voice didn't sound like Michael Keaton, really.
I assume it was all CG.
Yeah. So he says, and I am like, like just saying this off my memory, but it wasn't far off from this. He's like, I've been watching you. First of all, this guy's been here for like 2 seconds, but he's been watching Michael Morbius. And then he's like, I've been watching you. Us guys could do some good. We should team up. And Morbius is like, indubitably, or whatever he fucking says. He doesn't say that, but it was that shitty. And then that's it. And it's like,
yeah. So my big problem there is he's been in this world for 2 minutes. He has no idea how he got there. That's not his problem. That's not his question. He doesn't understand why he's in this universe, how he got to this universe. He doesn't care.
Oh, probably because of Spider-Man. That's what he does say. He does say that. I'm assuming it's because of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think I would still have questions. If all of a sudden I woke up in another universe, I would have questions. I'm sorry. My first inkling would be, I need to go rebuild a Vulture suit so that I can start teaming up with a vampire guy in this new universe. That would be my first choice. I would be like, hey, you know what got me arrested in the last universe is me flying around in a Vulture suit doing fucking shady ass shit. Maybe I shouldn't repeat that. I got a second chance at my life now. I'm just going to make a new life here in this world. No, I'm going to team up with that vampire guy that might have killed 30 people in that movie. I don't know because I just got here, but all the fucking news articles are saying, all the news articles are saying Morbius is a murderer. So, I'll not trust the papers. And I'm going to team up with him to do good because that's what it seems like he's been up to.
He's been up to some good. And doesn't he say, is like, we could do some good. So
like, what does that mean?
So this is what my mind is telling me. This is kind of the start of like a Sinister Six, but the Sinister Six aren't going to be sinister. They're going to be like anti-heroes. So like Michael Keaton will be coming. So we'll get Carnage or we'll get Venom. So it'll be like Venom, Morbius, probably Kraven. I would guess they want to do a Black Cat movie still. So they'll probably have Black Cat too. But it's like,
well, Kraven's next.
Yeah, I know Kraven's next. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is to me is like, who wants this? Like,
nobody.
Like, like I can't even fathom how horrible that crossover would be. And first of all, like, what the fuck are they doing? There's 6 super beings who are fighting not Spider-Man because he's not in this world right now, or like, the director said that there is a Spider-Man in this world, but
my assumption is they want to get Andrew Garfield back. I think they're going to try to do the Kraven movie, maybe a Black Cat movie. Then they're going to call it the Sinister Six movie or whatever the fuck they want, and they're going to get Andrew Garfield to come back and basically make that the Spider-Man 3 that he didn't get. And I think that's their hope.
Here's the problem with that. First of all,
all of it.
Second of all, imagine Andrew Garfield coming back for another Amazing Spider-Man movie, which to me, I really don't need to see, but
nobody does.
Andrew Garfield coming back would steal all the spotlight from Morbius, from Venom, from Kraven, from Black Cat, from Vulture, like, which would normally be those names are your headline. You could just throw all that in the garbage because as soon as Andrew Garfield comes back for another Amazing Spider-Man, those characters are completely irrelevant. And ultimately, those characters will lose because there's no way they're going to bring Andrew back for another one and have him be defeated by the Sinister Six. It's not happening.
That, and if Andrew Garfield gets a script, he's going to say no thank you.
Yeah, and this is hot shit.
And if Andrew Garfield watches Morbius or Venom, he's going to again say no thank you. And I can't see Disney being like, yeah, go do another Spider-Man movie. That's cool. Like, we're doing our thing, you do your thing.
I don't think they get a choice. I mean, I don't know what
they don't get a choice, but I think that they're going to go, do you not like how much our Spider-Man movies are making for you? Like,
but the thing is,
we just have one
doing that. They can keep doing that. That's not going to stop.
But then how confusing does a universe become? And like, I think there's a huge marketing issue when you go, here's Tom Holland in Spider-Man 4 or whatever, Super No Way Home or whatever the hell they're going to call it. And then
I'm going home, baby.
I'm going home, Home Alone, whatever. And then
it is Home Alone because he has no friends and family now. Oh, that's kind of sad.
If they call the next one Home Alone, I'll love it.
That would be the only acceptable way they could reuse the home thing. That would be the only thing I would allow. Everything else, no. But Home Alone, yeah.
But then
Spider-Man
also have Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like, it's going to just confuse the fuck out of people.
See, they'd probably pimp it as Sinister Six or whatever.
I think they would have to, but again, it's a clusterfuck.
It is a clusterfuck. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because Sony is just going to put dog shit out there, and if it makes money, they're going to keep putting it out. Why wouldn't they? So I do understand
I agree.
where you're coming from.
It's going to make
people seem to love them. I'm not really sure how or why, but I guess to each their own. But, like, they make money, so they're going to keep making Venoms, even though they are seriously some of the worst shit I've ever watched. But
yeah. Oh, we're definitely going to get a Venom 3, 1,000%.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think we'll get Craven first. I definitely think we'll get a Venom 3. I definitely think you're right. Probably Black Cat. I don't know. Like, didn't they set up Scorpion in one of the Venom movies? Or
well, I mean, he was set up at the end of the first MCU Spider-Man movie.
So they could do something with that.
Yeah, Matt Gorgon. But again, though, right? Like, see, to me, at that point, what is it worth it? Like, see, to me, that's something that Sony would do because that's so Sony. It's like, oh, everyone loved Matt Gorgon in the first Spider-Man movie. It's like, yeah, you could show a picture of that guy to 100 casual fans, and 5 of them will know who that is. Like, you do not need to recast that. You could just recast or just not pick Scorpion. Like,
no, but they just need to fill out the 6, right? So you got Venom, you got fucking, Craven, you got Black Cat, you got fucking Vulture, and then you're gonna have fucking Morbius. You need one more. Scorpion would make sense, and then I don't know. I'd make that movie and make it coherent. Good luck.
Jesus, man. It's the people that are making those movies, they should be ashamed because they are just poor storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's boring. It is in no way inspiring. Like, it is.
No, it's a money grab.
I really hope that this fucking burns. I do. I hate to say that, but
I have a feeling it's going to make its money back probably opening weekend or second weekend, and then it's going to drop off hard. But I assume that it's going to make enough money that it's going to be profitable.
It's a shame.
But like I said, like we're part of that problem, right? We're paying money to go see this shit.
I know.
We should be. We should boycott it, but
I know. It's so much more fun to make fun of it.
It is, and it's. I mean, it's kind of our job now in doing a podcast about nerd culture that we have to see these movies, even if they're not necessarily good. And
they're not great.
I'm very excited for Doctor Strange, but I definitely will have less inkling to go see the next Sony superhero movie.
Well, same. Like, if we weren't doing this podcast, I would not have seen Morbius.
Neither would I.
I would have just waited till it came out because I would have read the spoilers because I am known to do that, and then I would say, I'll just wait. That would have been the same with Venom 2, though, right? We talked about Venom 2, so I went, after seeing Venom 1, I was like, I do not need to see any more of these. But then we were doing a podcast, and we wanted to talk about it, so I was like, all right, it's worth it to go so we can
at least Venom 2 had comedic moments.
I disliked both. I actually think I disliked Venom 2 more because I thought it's like all of a sudden Venom's now Deadpool. And I'm like, that's not for me. I mean, it was like that a bit in the first one too, but it was like really overdone in the second one. And Venom at a rave with glow sticks around his neck. I'm good without that. That doesn't even make sense. The sounds would fucking piss the symbiote off. It'd be like that bumping sound. It was at a rave. What are you fucking talking about?
Dude, the movie doesn't make sense. It's not a good movie. I'm not saying hey guys, go see Venom 2. No, God, it was bad. But if somebody was like, hey, would you rather go watch Venom 2 or Morbius again? I'll go see Venom 2 again.
Me too. Me too.
100%.
I don't want to see Morbius again. This is a one and done. We're good here.
I will not waste another 90 minutes of my life.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Me neither.
It's that bad. That's Morbius for you.
That's Morbius in a nutshell. Did you hear that the director was actually spoiling it before it even came out? He was spoiling it on Twitter last week.
I saw some headlines that was talking about how weird their promotion was in marketing this movie, and I just saw the director spoils the end credit scenes on Twitter or something like that.
Credits. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at his fucking movies he directed right now, and like basically nothing. Like a bunch of random movies that was from Denmark and Sweden. He's had a couple movies that were released in America, but like nothing I've ever even heard of. So it's not like he's some like famous director or some like
right.
You know.
Well, that makes sense.
He was supposed to direct the Assassin's Creed movie and then got replaced by a different director. That's about it. So I don't know. I think this is his first like big budget movie.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Don't do another one. That's my recommendation.
Just stop for now.
Maybe choose something else. You've got to find something else that you were good at and try that maybe, because it's not this. Yeah.
Morbius. So our recommendation is definitely go see Morbius. No,
yeah.
We can say
our recommendation is
we do.
Maybe see it in IMAX where you can spend more money on it. And no, I literally, people in the theater were looking at their phones throughout the movie. Like I looked at the time twice on my watch because I was so bored. Like nobody in the theater. There's literally people that got up and left halfway through the movie. It's not worth seeing. It's not worth your money. It's not worth your time. I would recommend it as a fun bad movie. Even it's a boring bad movie. There's nothing redeemable about it. Don't go see it.
I'm pretty excited for Monday because this podcast I listen to, The Weekly Planet, they always break these things down, and I am more than excited to hear what they have to say about this one because I know that they are just gonna fucking shred it, and I'm there for it, man.
Well, even my friend Brian on the way home, he was like, you know, the sad thing is somebody somewhere is going to say they liked Morbius or that was like their favorite movie. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody can ever say that about this movie. Like, I don't know if there's a single person that's going to see Morbius and is going to go, that was good. I really enjoyed that. There might be people that thought it was okay.
Yeah. I have a friend who
I don't think anybody's going to be like, that was a great movie.
Yeah. It's not for me.
Not for me either.
It wasn't great. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was almost play-by-play what I expected Sony to do. And this just further proves to me that when it comes to trying to build out a world that people actually care about, they just can't. They won't be able to. They don't have it in them to even tell a straight story. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
They can't.
Please stop putting Jared Leto in movies. Just stop.
Stop. Let him go back to his band. What's that shit called? No,
30 Seconds to Mars. Go back to 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yep.
And
it's true.
Just don't put any music out because I don't want to hear it.
You can put it out if it makes you feel important. Nobody really gives a shit.
Sure. Last note, I meant to bring this up earlier and I totally forgot, but the new Chili Peppers album's out today.
Oh yeah, I saw on someone's comment that
it's okay.
I should have brought it up. Album.
I should have brought it up earlier when I was talking about shit I was watching or listening to or whatever. But
I'm boycotting.
The Chili Peppers album came out today called Unlimited Love. It's a double album. It's about 70 minutes long. It needs to be trimmed by about 5 tracks. I would say maybe 6. It's too long. There's some duds on the album. There's some great tracks on the album too. Flea's really always. I mean, Flea's awesome bassist. I can always listen to Flea's bass lines. John Frusciante being back in the band, he has some great guitar parts in it. Like it definitely livens up the Chili Peppers with John back in the band. Lyrically, they're as horny as ever. Half the songs are about sex and women and so on and so forth. it's weird that Anthony's like pushing 60 and he's still talking about sex constantly. But hey,
hey man, good on him. Good on him.
Yeah, that's what I said. Good on you, bud. But it's Chili Peppers. If you like the Chili Peppers, you're gonna find songs on the album you like. And if you're not a Chili Peppers fan, this is not going to do anything to change your mind.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's my
I'd say
review.
I'd check it out, but I don't know if I will because I just don't really.
I'll throw you a few tracks that I think you'll just appreciate for the bass line.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Flea has some cool guitar parts, like some cool bass parts on the album. So
Flea is very talented. So
He's
yes, I
upstairs
always
in
enjoy a
Town.
poppy little fucking walk on the bass.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hells yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
So I think that's it.
Anything else? Yeah, I think that's it too. Next week we have Moon Knight episode 2.
Moon Knight episode 2, and we're going to talk about WrestleMania next week.
We are
and
going to talk
wrestling.
about wrestling. Yeah. Why not?
WrestleMania is this weekend, and I'm going to watch it out of nostalgia and curiousness. And yeah, me and Matt were, both wrestling fans back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I was a wrestling fan for like.
No, I know you were.
My life.
You go back earlier than I do.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way.
I was aware of wrestling as a young kid, but I wasn't like a super fan until probably, I don't know, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that area. But
I remember my dad used to dress up like the Undertaker when we would wrestle. Like we would set up like blankets on the floor and like
that's awesome.
We had a sectional couch and we would my loading. Oh, there we go. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry,
you're good.
I saw the loading. We would he would put these like gray gloves on and his hat and he would choke slam my brother and I off the fireplace.
I could so see your dad doing that, and that's awesome.
It's great, man. We were like super young. We were probably like 6 or something.
Well, it'd be weird if he was doing that to you like 5 years ago. Like
my dad's like 75, and he's like, "Hey, watch this." I'm like 250 pounds. He's like, "Ooh,
Matt, you're grounded. Choke slam
through the table."
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we'll save our wrestling talk for next week and Moon Knight episode 2.
Moon Knight episode 2.
All right. Sounds good.
I have Wednesday live on Wednesday. Come hang out.
Come hang out with Matt. Follow him on YouTube.
And come hang out.
He's doing lots of great shit over on YouTube. So follow his YouTube channel.
Great shit.
So much great shit. Follow him on Instagram at Customs by Matthew. You can follow me at Moose Milk Media. Our art's done by at Janie Mildart. You can get the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. It should be there. And we appreciate you watching and commenting and subscribing and all that fun stuff. Helps us grow. So tell a friend even if you like the show.
It helps us grow.
No, it helps us grow. All right.
That's what she said.
Sure did, bud. Sure did. That's it. Thanks, bud.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Talk to you next week.